Well, here we are, ladies and gents. Welcome to a best of three. A really interesting, oh, sorry, not a best of three, a play all three. Very important distinction. Apparently, I'm a teensy bit behind, so my apologies. We've got the Viper in the yellow in the north here, and it's on Arabia. The Viper, one of the best players ever, if not the best player ever. I don't think he really needs much of an introduction. But what's important to note is that he is the Viper, and he also won his group in the first season of Titans League. This year's the second season of Titans League. And so he is going to be a favorite in almost every single series he plays. I think he won something like 11 or 12 out of 15 games in Season 1. Who he's up against is a young gun from Uruguay. I think he's 20 years old, might be 21 at this point, but that's much younger than the Viper. And he's been massively improving. And he played in the Gold League in Season 1 and got promoted. And, oh, God. Thankfully, he has Loom in this situation. But anyways, so he earned his spot in the top 24. Now, someone had asked me what I felt like the chances were for Sebastian to get to not only just get a win, but to win the series here. And I was thinking about it, and we saw running another promoted player win 2-1 against Winchester on Thursday. And what I had said at the time was like, think about it from the promoted player's perspective. This is like one of the biggest achievements they have. They want to open up and they want to show what they're made of. They're probably highly motivated. For some of these other guys, it's not that they're not motivated, right? I'm not trying to disrespect them, but it's not like a new thing for them to be in a situation like this. They're playing events all the time. They're probably not practicing, or at least practicing at the same level. And I know like in Viper's case, he's a very busy guy. I don't think he's spending a lot of time behind the scenes practicing for Titans League 2. I just don't. He might do so later on. But he's just expected to probably get promoted to the playoffs again, and then he can worry about practicing later. So, anyways, like, if there was ever a time for Sebastian to come in hot, this would be it. Like, if he's playing Viper in week 1, he has a lot better opportunities to get results than playing Viper in week 3 or week 4. So, we'll see. You can see Sebastian is at the Viper's base right now, and he sees Viper's Woodline, and he sees Viper's Berries. And I think Viper, because this Eagle's been lurking around, I think he's expecting that a bit of a drush could come in. And I don't know if you can consider a mistake from Sebastian necessarily, but he definitely was looking very intently at everything Viper was doing. And so Viper, he just prepped a couple walls there in his Woodline as he's hoping to get up to the next stage comfortably here. Now, Chinese start with 0 food in the bank, but Viper's had a near-perfect start after that. They start with more vills as well. Both civilizations here, it's standard for them to get Loom at the start. So the villagers are harder to kill. And there you have it. It's like you go for this build order, and Viper notices it and just quick walls it like it's nothing. Like he had 2 tiles of time to be able to react to that. And now Sebastian, who didn't know about the palisade walls a second ago, comes over here. I think there was another tree on the other side of that palisade wall, though I'm not sure. You have to imagine there is, and that Viper would have looked at that. But anyways, the thing I'll mention, though, is that Viper still isn't clicked up, which is very weird. He has the food in the bank, and he also has 2 villagers in queue. That is not standard. In fact, he gets housed now, and then I think he's like, oh, I didn't click up. So getting housed kind of alerted him of that fact. Anyways, it's not over for Sebastian. Sebastian's going to click up here, and this is a very nice build order from him. This is just meant to get an early lead. There is no tree there. First game of the day for the Viper, and I didn't notice this. I think he has to delete the lumber camp. You can't lose 2 villagers here, right? Oh my goodness. Again, if there's ever an opportunity, this would be it. Now, Sebastian's going to try and kill the second one. Viper's villager was somehow able to, like, morph his body through the units from the Viper. That does from Sebastian. That does happen, but the drush pays off. I just assumed Viper would have checked that. He didn't check it. Loses the villager there. And Sebastian's going to go to gold. For Sebastian, this is definitely going to be archers behind this. So he has the early control with this. And he's going to be making archers at the same pace as the Viper, pretty much. And Viper over to the gold now. Sebastian will see this. And this is precisely what this little attack would have wanted to accomplish here. You don't always get villager kills from it, but you stop your opponent from full wall and you force them into small walls, and then the archers can come around to the other side there. So it's going to be full defense and eco upgrades and greed. Not greed, really, but just typical Chinese stuff here from the Viper, who shows up with a scout here. He's going to see 2 villagers there from Sebastian. Sebastian clearly noticed him. And from what Sebastian can see, Viper's going to be going archers. Now, he might be thinking there's a chance that Viper goes for... there's a world where Viper went man-at-arms, like, really late. But the timing Viper was on gold. It wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Man, how aggressive has Sebastian been so far? This is good stuff. Also, I love this. So I think against even players, or like a player, let's just say a player like me, who Sebastian's ahead of me, let's be honest. But I played Sebastian way more than I've ever played Viper. I probably played Sebastian like 50 times. And he always goes for these little drush moves, and then he goes one range, fast blacksmith. And that's what Viper's going to do eventually, right? You have one archery range, and then you're saving the rest of your wood for farm, so you can get to Castle Age faster. He's up against Viper. He understands that, you know, Viper's going to be able to play that little one-range micro game a little better than him. So he's going double archer range here. And if you look at Viper's perspective, Viper didn't scout this. So he lost a villager. He doesn't know that it's double range. And now Viper sees this army. Now, he might still be thinking that it's one range from Sebastian. But we'll see what he reacts with here. And he goes for that blacksmith. So this is a really important moment, right? There's so much more production here from Sebastian. And this is all stuff that Viper normally is on top of. But it's game 1 in a series. Game 1 in this new event. This new season. And with Viper, you're always having that conversation of first game of the day. You know, things like that. And there's Viper now with fletching. Now, fletching's going to need to come in here for Sebastian. And he's going to do that now as well. Where did he even place that blacksmith, actually? Am I blind? Oh, it's down here. Okay, so he's even walling up. Yeah, he can produce from 2. In fact, he's got 5 units in queue right now. He's got so much more army than Viper. Viper's really... He's going to have to leave the gold at the very least here in a moment. It depends on how much confidence Viper has in his ability to micro out of this. But Sebastian's being very patient, using the units in the front, and now he's heading over towards Viper's woodline. I love this kid, man. And I know he's like 20 or 21, but I'm almost 30 now, so I think he qualifies as a kid in my eyes. And I mean no disrespect with that. But I love the confidence he's shown here to start off this game. Now, where Viper will dominate is if he doesn't take many losses, because he has so much food on these farms with the Chinese, but he is going to fall back into a second range now. And Sebastian chose to leave the hill. I feel like he could have stayed on the hill, but he left the hill, and he wanted to group up with the rest of his army, and Viper's got the better of the micro engagement so far. And Viper will be looking to aim down those archers as he's making primarily skirmishers. Obviously, a long-term risk up against the Mayans who can make eagles, but it is also a long-term risk to make too many skirmishers against the Mayans. Against the Chinese if you're Mayans, because they can make knights later. And Sebastian looking to dive in here. Viper looking for more quick walls. He's not going to get it. He was going to pull with the villagers. He drops the gate. I still don't know if this is that good for the Viper. Sebastian has more army, but he is stuck at the bottom of this hill. And, man, this is a really awkward fight to call, but it's even more difficult to micro, believe me. I think the militia and the eagle are gaining some insane value here. 16 army versus 5. Viper's going to be completely overwhelmed by this, and now he has to drop a tower. This tower might not end up going up. This is what Titans League is all about, right? You get into Gold League, you show what you're capable of, and then you can go up against the best, show that you belong to be in that conversation. The Viper's tower will actually complete. And if I know Sebastian, this is market time, baby. Like, he's like, all right, so I didn't find my window. I still got good army control. I need to upgrade this army. Where's the market? Wait for it. Wait for it. Market's going to come. And he's just going to sell all of his extra resources and try and get this crazy timing in early Castle Age next. Obviously, only killed one villager. And Viper, he's not fully walled on this side, but if you're Sebastian, you don't exactly know that. Good micro skirm v skirm here. Archers are going to loop around behind the wood line. It's unlikely Viper will lose more villagers. But I was surprised to see there's no market. There it is. Look at the farming eco, too. It's not like he has bad economy. 14 farms behind this. Double lumber camps, so the wood's been pretty efficient. He didn't really sacrifice a lot. Sometimes to get a lot of aggression in, you sacrifice something, but he has Viper on the ropes. But great job. I have to say, great job in like typical Viper stuff to be able to hold throughout that, right? Like he could have so easily, like so many players would have never got this tower up. And so many players would have been overwhelmed by the early numbers. Just good little micro movements from patience from Viper. And there goes Sebastian using that market, not even selling a stone. Dude, Sebastian's playing so good. A lot of how Viper is opened here is due to how the Chinese tend to play. The weakest point for Chinese is early feudal. And Sebastian took advantage of that. Good little Dark Age pressure into early feudal pressure. Viper, by the way, will have enough stone for another tower if it's needed. Sebastian's sending this eagle over here. He's constantly active with scouts. And then Viper's going to find Sebastian here on this hill. Both players making archers and skirmishers, but Sebastian has more. And he's not going to mix in eagles. He's just going to stay on archers here. As Viper adds his third range and walls over here towards this tower. I just heard something die. I think Viper deleted a skirmisher. How did that die? Did he have a heart attack? Can I... Hold on a second. It's not like he was housed. What happened? I don't understand it. Okay, well, we'll catch up to live time now. And maybe tried to... Like, normally I would think he tried to delete a foundation that was close by. But there wasn't a foundation close by that he has since deleted, so... The skirmisher's dead. More house walling from Sebastian as he loops around this way. Does Viper notice that? See, Viper is a little uncertain. But again, you know, Sebastian's so active with the eagle that you kind of expect it to come this direction. Viper's going to look with one skirmisher instead of deleting this guy. And that guy's going to find exactly what he was expecting to be there. Now, interesting note will be that if Viper chooses to counterattack, like if he... Okay, so now he's towering. He could go counterattack now. And will Sebastian be exposed? He drops 2 TCs. The confidence. So much for the all-in. He thinks he can take this over the long term. This is incredible. So many people try an all-in and they figure they just can't win if the game goes on longer. Win or lose here, I think already I'm very impressed with Sebastian. And if you haven't watched a lot of his games, you should have an idea of how good he is. It does feel like, though, Viper has defended himself enough where he's going to have a pretty good counterattack possible here. See, Viper won't be able to boom. But what he does have is he has almost the same amount of crossbowmen. And, you know, if he could push this army away, the rest of his army is going to come this direction, you would think. Let's see if Sebastian starts to struggle a little bit more with army control. Because that can happen when you drop those town centers. Because you're investing into villagers there. And then also you're focusing on dropping farms and whatnot. No university for either player yet. As I say that, we see a siege workshop for Sebastian. And I like that decision here. It's probably better than the ballistics upgrade in these types of situations. Because Viper's going to be investing more into army than you. So if you both go for ballistics, as Sebastian getting the better of Viper with the micro right now. Viper's trying to dive. Sebastian's making him pay the price, though, for diving in so close. Viper has thumb ring now, which is probably why he was so confident. But I'm not actually sure that that was the best engagement Viper could have taken there. I mean, in the end, they probably ended up killing about the same. Viper yet again dodging and trying to avoid villager kills. Sebastian has the Mangonel now on the way. This TC is so important because it protects this gold and it also kind of gives cover fire for this gold. Just one villager killed throughout this whole game. This is a really good game with 2 meta civilizations for Arabia. Viper's still 1 town center. So we know how good the guy is as he's getting ballistics now. He's really going to have to micro with those crossbowmen here, though. And Sebastian still trying to be aggressive against the Viper. Still not hesitating to attack. And I love it. Again, like, I'm a fanboy. I said it before. I'll say it again. He's really good. The conversations we have surrounding him, surrounding Kingston, who we'll see against Hera in, I think, Group C. You know, a lot of these up-and-coming players that have come up through Titans League, they got some real talent, man. And now, okay, now Sebastian should realize Viper has ballistics. So now is a time where you see elite skirm sometimes, or you just have to have the siege all the time. And if there wasn't a hill here, I think it'd be a little different as far as Viper's approach. But Viper is going to try and micro down the siege, because he doesn't have his own siege now, and he probably feels like he's under some pressure. He probably knows he's behind with economy. Remember, he's got thumb ring, he's got ballistics. To be honest, the fight's not bad here for Sebastian, though. The Viper, he's taking lots of losses. So as he focuses down the mangonels, he's losing units to the crossbows or vice versa. All of a sudden, 14 crossbows for both players. Viper still can't take the mangonels. And let me put it to you this way. If the roles were reversed, if it was Viper in Sebastian's current position, you'd say this is just domination, right? There's no way that it's possible for his opponent to come back. But it's Sebastian that's actually all over Viper and controlling this crucial area. Now, Viper drops 2 TCs, not really typical positions. If he had control over the game, I think he would have placed town centers elsewhere. And he opts for siege now, so now he's thinking defensive. But not fully defensive. He will probably try and pick away some villagers with a smaller group. Sebastian just runs right into Viper's base. Just no hesitation. I absolutely love it. And he's now dropping a university. He's going to want to get that ballistics upgrade. When you're talking Chinese bonuses, guys, you're normally talking about how good their food eco is because of how much food they have on their farms. As Viper gets rocked. He can't keep up with the pace from this kid. All right. Viper picked Arena as a home map, by the way. So, I mean, it's not like Viper's never played this guy before. But I do think that there's some level of recognition of this guy's speed. He would prefer to play Sebastian on a closed map. It's not like Chinese is an off-meta pick. It's not like he's underestimating his opponent and, like, trolling or anything like that. He's playing serious, playing standard. The ballistics should be on the way now for Sebastian, as he will definitely have the better imp time from here. But it does say something, though, when you have all these good things to say about Sebastian's play, and it's 57 to 50 KD here for the Viper. Sebastian out-microing the ballistics upgrade multiple times. Oh my god. Gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. I remember playing... So Sebastian wasn't always known as Sebastian. He was known as, like, Subutai and a couple other things. I remember playing this guy and being like, man, he's fast, but, like, his execution struggles. His strategy is just not there. As he holds this hill confidently against the snake. He still hasn't clicked the ballistics upgrade. It is something that he was planning on. He has the university. Wow, Viper fires uphill there. That mangonel cannot be repaired. Very important for Sebastian that he holds this position. No ballistics could end up being something that he regrets. But he's transferred pretty heavily onto stone. So the plan is going to be to drop a castle here, as Viper will aim to take out the mangonel. And Viper gets a position. Uh-oh. That siege workshop was a good idea, but a little too late. This siege workshop still producing. Still no ballistics for Sebastian. Now Viper, it's what can he do behind this in these moments? Oh man, he dodges that shot by getting underneath it. The villager's here to repair though. Sebastian gets hit. This is looking bad for Sebastian all of a sudden, and Viper is bringing it back. Sebastian's close to clicking up to Imp though, right? He's still in a nice position as long as he can maintain his army mass and just settle down at home. So he has to give up the hill against the Viper. A great game here of Age of Empires 2. Two meta civilizations, as we say. And pretty meta gameplay as well. Like, Chinese always have the flexibility to go into Knight and Skirmisher. Mayans are normally always going crossbow or, of course, infantry, which we could see later on. I think, at this point, I believe Sebastian thinks he has ballistics, by the way. Like, I have to assume that. He might realize he doesn't have ballistics when he goes to click chemistry out of that university. Would love to see Viper move forward onto the hill with some, even just the villager building houses. Like, having some level of control there, I think would be hugely helpful. And Sebastian's going to place a castle that is a just-in-case castle. That's not what he would have wanted. But it's not going to hurt to have a castle. And Viper's still so far away from clicking up to the next stage here. But he is on 4 town centers. And we're going to see the 4th town center here for Sebastian in a really weird spot, actually. Oh my god, he doesn't actually see the resources that are there. Considering he doesn't see any of that, it's actually not too bad. And this just-in-case castle, will it go up? Viper, realizing how important it is for the comeback to stop this castle. He's being patient with the Mangonel micro. Will he go against the Vils or will he go against the Siege? Sebastian microing back. Viper microing to the side. Viper hitting his shot. Sebastian hitting his shot. And I think Sebastian is in a safe enough position to finish this now. He still has crossbows in this TC, by the way. And he has a similar crossbow count. But yeah, he definitely doesn't realize he doesn't have ballistics right now. He's going into these fights thinking that he does. Yeah, that is... just to give him some coverage on this side, I guess. That's an interesting TC spot. So apparently he's not seeing enough from the engagements either to realize he doesn't have the ballistics upgrade. And Viper's going to lean on that market, as players so often do when they're behind. Micros against another Mangonel. Can Sebastian finish off the snake? Arbalest is going to give him such a big timing here. Arbalest and Bracer. And normally you go to the university for chemistry now, too. Let's see. Okay, there's Bracer, Arbalest. Chemistry should be next. Viper's going to send his crossbowman this way. Like, Sebastian not having ballistics is genuinely horrible. Also, I don't like that castle spot. If you're going to do this, you place that castle here. Because it's really hard to chase Viper if he runs, because you're missing so many shots. Okay, there goes Viper with his crossbows, trying to buy time. Sebastian hoping to ignore this, because he wants to hit the Viper. I like the castle. It is interesting there's no stones or gold beneath it, though, as Viper's building a castle here. And it feels like if this castle goes up, that this could be a classic Viper comeback, right? It's been a really good game so far. Viper trying to get... like, now Sebastian's going to realize he doesn't have ballistics, right? Now he's going to realize. Viper should realize. Still no ballistics upgrade. Arbalest can dive deep, though. That is Viper's MTC. Oh, no! One Treb could definitely stop Viper from making it to Imp. It only needs 4 volleys. Will Viper realize this? And will Sebastian go for the town center? Oh, man. Okay, surely now he will have realized he doesn't have ballistics when he went to click chemistry. Viper knows he needs to run now. He did get this castle up, at least. There's plenty of resources on that backside. Okay, Viper realizes that's his Imp TC, so he should be able to make it. Had he not repaired, it would have been close. Might even see him consider the guard tower upgrade if this continues. We have no relics collected. The Arbalest were trying to kill the villagers there. Viper's TC, though, does allow him to make it to Imp. And Sebastian, he just wants the villagers at this point, I think. And that's the thing about him, is he's always looking for kills. 48 Arbalest. And they'll be fully upgraded Arbalest right now for Sebastian. But he doesn't have any stone income, I've noticed. So let's see if he can get that. Taking this stone could be really important. Should have another stone around. There he goes for that one. Sorry to look away from the main battle, but these are important things because he wants to castle all around the map. Viper has stable units, so we'll be in a position to potentially raid later on. Look at no ballistics making a difference here. Viper's getting kills that he shouldn't get because Sebastian didn't have the ballistics upgrade. It's crazy how missing one upgrade could make such a big difference in a game. So I'm curious to see Sebastian's approach now because he will have seen Elite Skirm, and that's a worry for him, and that's also a time to maybe think about switching into Eagles. Now, before you just think that that should be the play, sometimes players say, if I've got 3 or 4 trebs, I just bring a castle forward and drop it next to my army so the skirmishers can't engage against me. And I just treb Viper back first, and that ends up being the priority. So that seems to be what Sebastian's thinking of. He's also over-booming right now. 140 villagers, which could be great. It's going to bring in a lot of resources. And look at him out-microing the ballistics. Both of these nerds. We've got the old nerd, the snaky nerd, who seems to be out-nerding. And then we've got the new kid on the block. But Viper's army's looking pretty good. Still needs to keep this castle up, however, as we have Sebastian dropping the castle next to it. If the Vils would have been here right when the Trebs arrived, this is a different fight, though. But still, Viper's behind in army. He's behind in momentum. He's behind in economy. And he's placing these long-term castles on the right and TCs and whatnot. But he might lose this one. This is an amazing game. Again, like, if you would have reversed the names, be honest with yourselves. Tell me if you would have been surprised. Like actually, hold on, let me, like, if this would be Hidden Cup style and it was like Genghis Khan versus Robin Hood, tell me who you think would be who here. 155 villagers, though. I mean, there is a way to throw this game, but it's easy enough with 155 vills to just delete a bunch, still have a good economy, and then continue to pressure here. Viper's not going to call it quits. He doesn't really have the economy to tech switch, I'm noticing, so he's just making primarily skirms. And he's going to make Sebastian earn it. Keep in mind, when this eventually hits YouTube, because I could tell you this is going to, the full play all three matters for the league. So if you want to watch the full play all three after this, we'll have it listed in the description. T90 Extras channel, check it out. But yeah, I mean, you know, Viper still might also want to warm up for the rest of the series and stay in this game a little bit longer, and maybe shaking his head a little bit like, wow, I've got to be playing serious here today. Again, though, he has been playing this game serious, right? Like, a lot of this stuff is exactly how Viper plays every single game. As Sebastian's trying to swing his trebs over here to take out Viper's castle. And Viper sees this. This is an important moment, actually, because there's 20-some skirms. Sebastian's now starting to make his own skirmishers, but this is a little sloppy. He might need to delete this castle. I still think Viper ends up losing his castle, though, because he doesn't have a way of stopping the trebs. So even if he takes out the arts, he has no way to take the trebs. And I guess he'd have to use his own trebs against this. I don't know. It'll be weird. More ranges for Sebastian. Mayans do have better skirmishers than the Chinese. You never see the unique tech these days, the Holche upgrade, but that does make their skirmishers better than the Chinese skirmishers. Opens up a window where Viper can go cav, obviously, which Viper is thinking of. Viper's still desperate to defend this castle, doesn't have any repairs. This will have been the second castle he's lost with less map control. And yeah, Sebastian's now got just as many skirmishers as the Viper. Viper's going to lose his TC as well. And still we haven't seen, like, Elite Eagle or anything come in. And of course, Mayans have more options. So Sebastian being a little methodical about this, but he hasn't gone for the kill, has he? He absolutely has not gone in to try and finish the Viper before Viper gets a cav switch. In terms of ideal castles, though, castle in the middle of the map, castle on the left of the map. Another castle here would be great. I mean, just one castle over here, and he's got Viper backed into one of the four corners in the game. Also, Viper's not taking any neutral resources. He's still thinking about the stable tech switch, still getting blacksmith upgrades, so that could be effective. And now we start to see infantry upgrades, and this could be the killer blow. But I think, you know, the most exciting thing for me about how Sebastian has played this game is how he has played it with the confidence that someone like the Viper would, in terms of the economy edition, and the greed, as some people might call it there. The long-term late castle spots, like, a lot of people aren't going to do that. This is probably the first castle he's placed, actually, that isn't like the type of castle that you would maybe see from the Snake. Like a castle, just safe castles everywhere, and just safe play, calculated play this whole time is sick. By the way, Viper, Light Cav is a really good upgrade. He's going to get Light Cav eventually, and I think Sebastian realizes this Treb doesn't want to go, but I think he realizes that was ambitious. No relics right now is maybe a concern, but, you know, you still got all the extra gold control if you're Sebastian. Viper does have 3 Trebs still. I want to see. Yeah, there is gold here. There's nothing else that I can really see except some stone on the right side. And, well, Viper, 13 Light Cav. Here come the Trebs. Elite Eagles in. Skirm heavy play. A little risky against the Cav. And, uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh. No relics for Sebastian. Obviously, Eagle's going to be really tough for Viper to stop. But Viper, he sees it now. And because these things don't have El Dorado yet, like, that's normally the killer with the Mayans, is the El Dorado upgrade. He's got a chance to hold against it. Sebastian's probably a little concerned with the situation here at the moment. Eagle Warriors would go up to 100 HP with El Dorado, which you should be able to get. Like, I think you just sell all your wood, and you research it in one of your many castles here, and you're fine. There is potential for Viper to take out this castle. I'm not so sure now. We'll see. He's losing his ball of skirms. Sebastian's focusing everything here on this hill. We've got 18 Eagles in queue for Sebastian. Viper's got like about 12 cav units on the field right now, and more blacksmith upgrades are flying in for the Uruguayan. I didn't know there were so many viewers from Uruguay, by the way, until Sebastian started to be as good as he is. The amount of Vamos Uruguay I get on my Twitter is insane. And another Treb goes down, another Treb goes down. Now Viper can't push. Remember, Viper's running on limited gold here. Gold is not an easy thing for him to come by. And he can't exactly, like, raid that easily with all these castle spots, too. Speaking of gold, Sebastian now is 0 on gold. He's not too far off from taking that, though. He can take that. He can take this. We'll need gold for the Eagles, that's for sure. Viper doesn't actually need gold for the light cav skirmisher play. And Viper's pop is still good. I'm telling you, there's still a chance. It is the Viper. We've seen some crazy things from him over the years. It's been impressive from both. Viper to stay alive, Sebastian to get ahead and dominate the Viper as he has. We do see the pikeman upgrade, though, for Sebastian, as he's going to think about that to defend from any cav raids. He's finally getting relics, which is something that I've been calling for a while. But that's a style thing. A lot of players are so focused on army, they're not going for relics as early as like someone like I would. Like I would get the relics, and then I wouldn't have the army, and then I would lose the fights. So, and maybe some of you guys can relate to that comment. No El Dorado upgrade yet, which we might not see at this point because it has been a pretty long game. Eagles are starting to get kills. Viper will be able to track that down, but that's a nice little raid there for Sebastian. So we haven't seen either of the Mayan unique techs, and I think both of those techs would actually be super helpful here. I think Sebastian will be alerted to the fact that gold is here when he sees Viper's skirms. Like, he'll go over there to kill that and then actually take the gold. Viper's going to maybe try and get over there, though. But there's outposts. Oh, man. Okay, quick walling here from Sebastian. He's like, Viper, how do you like it? Light cav should still get through, though. It's just a palisade gate. Halb's coming out. I actually think it will help Sebastian to lose villagers here, guys. But Viper has the population lead. He's going to hit these villagers on gold. What is happening? The villagers should stay on gold. Sebastian worried. Viper still in this. How is this guy able to stay alive in these types of situations? I think it's the left-hand side that becomes important for Viper now as an avenue to raid. Because he's still just staying alive here. But Viper's resources are pretty insane. Viper did get one relic, by the way. Playing into Eagles with this much map control without El Dorado has to be questioned. It's so important. You've got the wood to just sell. And Viper's light cav starting to get some precious raids in. The downside for him is that Sebastian was already above 50 farms. Is actually more than what he's had. So it's not as if, like, as this is getting pretty messy underneath the castle fire. But it's not as if, oh my god, there's yellow dots everywhere. Oh my god! Oh my god! This is crazy, man. I was just going to say, it's not like he's going to take the guy down to 10 farmers, but maybe he will. There's El Dorado now, by the way. He only has 14 eagles. He doesn't have that much gold banked up. And you can tell he's caught in between two minds. He wants to push here, and now he has to defend, and it's going to be hard to get that balance. Now El Dorado's in for 7 eagles. Oh my goodness, man. This is a great game. Thank you, by the way, everyone, for your support and being interested in the whole event and watching and whatnot. Hopefully my commentaries doing this one justice. You need more eagles, Sebastian. You need more eagles, man. Remember when he had 150 vills? He's got 100 now. Still feels like he could push, but I don't see the eagle numbers where he could actually push here. And if Viper's smart about this, well, he's going to have the raid to deal with. But if Viper's smart about this, he will raid the left side and the right side before he does anything in the middle again. Yeah, so Sebastian wants to push. But look at, as he has to deal with all this, and he has to maybe react to all this, look what happens. Oh no, that Treb. Where are they going? Oh, man. Sebastian. He has had to work so hard here. I thought it was unlosable. We'll clear some of that up as Viper's starting to mix in Arbalest. He's doing that because of the addition of the Halbs. Viper's got no gold income beyond that one relic, but he's taken out so many gold units. He's still wanting to take some of this gold. You can tell he's waiting and being patient with the Trebs. I know Viper will realize that he's got an opportunity here at this point. I think before he genuinely thought he was dead, but he's seen enough kills and enough from his raids to feel like he's got an opportunity. And like, this is not a win the game type of push. This is like a real frantic type of move that players who lack a little bit of experience, who are getting raided to death, make. Every Eagle Warrior is going to matter so much now, though, guys, because of that 100 HP. Especially if it gets into Viper's eco. And man, oh man, Sebastian has had to track so many raids, but he just can't keep up with it. You've got to be kidding me. Viper has found the way through here. It's like Sebastian will put out 2 fires, but there's still a third blazing in the eco. And Sebastian's down to 140 economy. Viper's in this. And Viper might even be seen as winning right now. Are you freaking kidding me? This is insane. Look at Viper's perspective, by the way. Look at everything he can see. I don't know if it's easy to pick up on, but if you watch the minimap when he raids, he shows up with one group, and then it branches out like a cluster into like 4 or 5 different spots. Look, back over to this gold. He doesn't see that. He just knows about it. And he wants to double check that. And just the awareness from him has been ridiculous. And Sebastian's reached a point of where he is destabilized now. I don't know if he's going to have the time to do so if Viper continues to swing. Still, obviously, having the Eagles will be huge. But Viper now moving forward to take this castle, which is weak from earlier. Poor Sebastian, man. He's going to lose this Treb to Viper's light cav. He won't take out many or all the Trebs here because of Viper's skirms. He's been picked apart here. An insane performance from the Snake. Like, I had that feeling when Sebastian was playing safe that I've seen Viper do this before. I've seen Viper come back in crazy situations before where he's not, like, killed off. Like, you've just got to, like, cut off his head while you can, you know? But Sebastian played with that confidence that Viper would have in the same situation. But he wasn't able to get it all together to finish it off. I think Sebastian is dead. If he makes skirmishers, it gets countered by Lightcap. If he makes halberdier, it gets countered by Viper's skirmishers. Viper has 60 farms, 37 on wood. And Viper, the only thing he really has to worry about is eagles. But I think numbers of Lightcap can make the difference. Like, we just saw some halbs here. Viper had the numbers there. And again, he's just everywhere. That monk's going to die. Good luck returning that relic. Push continues here. The Viper converts something in there. An Eagle Warrior, actually. That's going to be helpful. And wow! What a crazy game! Holy crap! Man, like... I mean, it's just a beautiful game all around. I think, like, my gut reaction to what we just witnessed is you don't see a comeback like that every day. But as a counter to that, it's also like you don't see a comeback like that every day from the Viper because no one ever plays good enough to get that far ahead of him. Right? Like, I think that has to be said. It's very easy now to say, like, hey, Sebastian, you needed ballistics a bit earlier. Maybe El Dorado. Maybe, you know, don't play so safe. But how can you argue with anything that he made beyond, like, a couple missing upgrades? Like, Sebastian played so far so good to get ahead. I can see why he had the confidence to play into the defensive castles as he did. Now, the main thing, and I don't know if there's a word for this, okay? But the main thing that becomes, that Viper's the best at, and that he can recognize in the game, and it becomes very tough from the aggressor standpoint, is you always have to do enough to your opponent, in this case the Viper, to force him to react to you, okay? So you guys are talking about eagle raids, maybe should have walled, blah, blah, blah. Forget about all that. You need to have enough of a force where Viper always has to react to you. And there was a point in the game where Viper was always reacting because he had to, right? Like, it was like, here, Viper, there's so much that Sebastian's throwing right in his face, Viper has to deal with it, no raids. You go a little bit ahead of this. Viper has to react to this. No raids. You go ahead of this. Viper has to react to this. No raids. But then I don't think it was the I don't think it was actually the decision to go Eagles or the decision to go Skirms or anything like that. But he fell into a spot where he had a force that had to be massed, and then Viper said, wait a second. My castle's going to hold for me. I think that castle was so huge for him. My castle's going to defend for me. I can hold a little bit. And this is good enough for Viper. Viper says, okay, I'm forcing you to react. Guess what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to hit somewhere else. And you could already see, even just like 2 skirms that head over there, if you were watching intently, that you would have noticed that happen. So Viper just found an opening where he wasn't dying all the time. And he just started to peel his opponent back like an onion. By the way, that castle on the right, that castle, 39 kills for Viper, and I think those were crucial kills. Like, if he didn't have that castle, I think he would have lost a lot of this eco. He didn't exactly expand to the left side. So, anyways, as someone says, as a reminder for us, parentheses, me, for when I watch this on YouTube, don't forget to buy food for the cat. Okay, so my viewers are now using the chat as reminders to feed their cat. That's worrying, but also hilarious. Well played, Viper. He wins this game. And again, everybody who watches that crazy comeback on YouTube later on, make sure to check out the full play all 3 if you wish to in the description. For all we know, all the games could be like this, so they might all hit the main channel. But best games go to the main YouTube channel. We have the extras for a reason. Sad for Sebastian, though. He clearly is so freaking good, right? I think he just needed Eldorado. I think he needed to sell all of his wood. He needed to stop playing safe and just YOLO in with like 30, 40 eagles. And the whole game he was picking Viper apart, and it was all about the tiny little moves, TCs, castles, blah, blah, blah. But he just needed to say, you know what? Let's send it all. Let's just finish him now. And Viper just got it right, man. I just so impressed there with everything in that game. Viper also earns $40 there, too. T90 Titans League, not bad. T90 Meow Mix sponsorship. Dude, I would do that. I don't have the stats on this, but I would guess that at least 50% of my viewers have a cat. If there was a T90 Meow Mix, which, like, the food was shaped like different Age of Empires icons, well, I don't know. Maybe Microsoft wouldn't allow that. But assuming Microsoft would allow that, you know, like the supplies icon, the murder holes icon, we do the T90 logo. Your cats would love to eat that. And you guys could get a 10% discount. That'll never happen. It's a funny idea, though. Anyways, game 2, it's so funny. I spent so much time summing up what was an incredible game 1. And these guys just, like, leave the game. They probably don't even look at the stats. They're just like, okay, next game. I personally could have spent another 10 minutes talking about that previous game. It was so good. But welcome back, obviously, to play all 3. Sebastian was super close, man. He was super close to winning the first game. I think it definitely falls into the category of he should have won that first game, but just Viper things. Viper with an immaculate comeback. Viper's playing as the Huns, a civ that's very much about Castle Age in this map. They start off a little awkwardly, the Huns, because they start with minus 100 wood, but then not having to make houses is a huge bonus for them that allows them to float a lot of wood to do a lot of different things in the mid-game. The map cross is a map where you focus on the pawns. And I know Sebastian's had some pretty wild build orders in the past where he would focus heavily on an early dock on someone's pond. So I don't know if we'll do that. I think I could easily see Sebastian just going for like man-at-arm archer and just trying to kill Viper on land and also forgetting about water. But I think like the fact that the Dravidians... sorry, I just brain farted. The fact that the Dravidian docks act as a house as well allows for some extra flexibility there. And then I think the other aspect that's exciting with Dravidians is the plus 200 wood that they get from the Castle Age. Sorry, from arriving to the next age. And that is every single age. Now, if he doesn't have control over this game, he's dead. Like, Huns can make knights. Sebastian's army is probably going to be like crossbow skirm, maybe some pikemen. Huns with their options with knights, cav archers, and it also just being Viper. Like, Huns are more mobile. They have really good Castle Age land options. I think Sebastian's going to have to really gain a foothold early here. Which was not the situation in the previous game. Mayans and Chinese are pretty well rounded throughout most of the game. This game, it's all about the plus 200 wood, the dock being a house, and all the tiny little builds you can do with the Dravidians. So we'll see. Like, I've seen so many games where Dravidians can get an early lead, And then they even get a slight lead, but they lose control, and suddenly the fact they can't make a knight is just horrible. Huns can't deal with Urumi and skirms, though. They absolutely can, because they just run away from them. If this was a scenario, it'd be a different situation. But the Huns are mobile, and Dravidians are not, so that's not actually a concern at all. I like this from Viper. He knows he's probably not going to kill this Vil. Sebastian was just like, are you really going to make me do this? Didn't even build that more. And Viper's like, all right, this kid's paying attention. All right, so Viper scouted the dock then for Sebastian. Sebastian hasn't scouted Viper's dock. Let's see how thorough he is here. I've seen players just assume that they missed it on the other side. Okay, yeah. Docking there is actually really smart sometimes because people will miss it. And yeah, Viper realizes he's been spotted. And there is a big avenue here for Sebastian to just send a villager. Sometimes it's more awkward, but I could easily see him just sending a villager here. Just a straight shot. Viper could do the same. Sometimes you'll have, let's say, a much bigger wood line here, and then players will wall it off. But I don't see that being a possibility here. Sebastian clicks up first. So Sebastian only with 3 fishing ships. Viper going to 5. 4 is what I've considered to be standard over the years. But Sebastian, I think, is trying to go for a really tight build. Yeah, he's trying to go for man-at-arms here as well. And so he's cutting some corners so he could get the barracks up. For Viper, he has no barracks, but this is where not having to make houses becomes very nice. Also, if the game gets messy and sloppy, as Viper comes over here, maybe to even build an outpost. Yep, I like that. He's really paranoid about a villager coming this way. So he knew what we were talking about, but yeah, like not having to make houses at this stage is when Viper's going to float a lot of resources. And then in the event that there's a lot of aggression, sometimes it's hard to remember houses, and Huns don't have to deal with that. Which is just one thing that adds to how easy it is for them to produce. Oh, God. Viper needs a quick wall here. This could be amazing for Sebastian. Let's see if Viper can get this up. Like, Viper losing the Vil is one thing. Not getting the barracks up is another thing. Sebastian, fight it. You fight this all the time and send 1 militia for that villager as well. Yeah, this is so good from him. Viper's going to try and quick wall, so sometimes you have to focus everything that you can on one Vil. At least Viper completed the barracks, but not the start that he would have wanted here, losing that villager and also losing a lot of HP on his scout. And that's also the downside sometimes of the Huns, is the fact that you can't make houses, which means it's harder to like house wall and protect yourself. So it's only palisades. A good early start there for Sebastian, who is adding a 4th and a 5th fishing ship and checking his pond, guys. This is like a high skill element of this map, but it's so important. He's checking to see if Viper has a dock there with the fishing ship. Okay. Okay, someone said, did you see the lame? I didn't see a lame. If I missed something big, you could tell me what it was. I don't think there was a lame. Viper's scout's weak from the attack, unless he... I don't think he stole a boar from what I'm seeing either. It might have just been a sheep or two. Which happens, but not as big of a deal on a map where you've got some fishing ships as well. A fast blacksmith here for Sebastian. What I didn't show you yet is he's got a range behind this. And it's a very similar game to the previous game, where you've got ranged units. And, oh, over here, Viper's got a dock. And is he going to try and run behind Sebastian's base to dock over there? That's ballsy. Sebastian did see Viper was docking there, though. So Viper, if he adds a fishing ship there, will lose it. Obviously, Viper's got a lot to look at here. Viper's scout, by the way, is here. But he's adding more. And that's seen now by Sebastian, who's going to add some spearmen here. He never went for the man-at-arms upgrade, by the way. What do you guys think? Is it worth it? It's, what is it, 50% off with Dravidians? I actually think it's worth it. After you have fletching. But a lot of players are never going to research it at this stage. The thing that I think has been really good for Viper, and this could be such a game changer. Oh my god. Like, Sebastian is never expecting a dock to be there. He's always checking here. Because that's the direction Viper would normally go. Are you kidding me? But the thing that's amazing for Viper is that he's just consistently had more fish. because he's added so many of them. And so if he can take Sebastian's main pawn, Sebastian will be in big trouble. As for the fight, currently it's looking like it's pretty close. Sebastian's faster firing skirms with the Dravidians, not performing too badly here, but it is also an army composition that normally doesn't have a lot of life against, like, Scout Archer. Oh my goodness, man. That is so disgusting, and it's so smart from Viper. It's just not something you prep for, as we have a pause at the moment. Viper, by the way, he was surprised by this. He added a galley. He wanted to patrol this so Sebastian could never dock it. But the galley will always lose against fire ships, so he's going to lose his galley and he's going to lose his fishing ship there. This game is live, obviously, so we have to wait for them to unpause. So I'm trying to analyze other aspects of this game. Like, Sebastian's walling up a lot, which I think is really good. Viper's not. So even if Viper wins fights, it doesn't seem like he's going to get in. Though he could. We'll see. I still think it's really helpful to have a scout over here. So even if you, like, lose the ability to attack your opponent's base, you can still use the army to control the pawns. And I think, bringing that up, Sebastian's currently sending a Vilt to try and get a dock up here. So if he can get the dock up before Viper can get over there, that could be a pretty big deal. Go, question mark dropped. Viper says, okay, go back with your skirms. Go, go. I think that was Viper saying, so I guess Sebastian disconnected for a second. There was like 20-second lag. And Viper knew that Sebastian would have never sent his skirms there. So Viper was saying, I'll let you go back with your skirms. Which is heads-up play. That obviously to be expected from Viper, but that's a pretty interesting thing to pick up on. You could just say, oh, that sucks, and just continue. This needs to be walled. This will now be fully walled. And will Sebastian's house here spot this? Oh, he does spot it. That's huge. Now, it's going to be annoying, but at least he can defend his fish and compete for that a little bit. This is where Huns feel so good, though. Oh, man. Let's see if Viper not sending a scout this way surprises me a bit. And the game slows down for us. It's probably, we're still just like kind of smoothing out here and catching up to live time. Viper's going to see this. And oh my god, the villager's going to die too. Viper, why are you sending your vill that way? Bro. Okay, well, she's dead. Normally you want to repair villager. And anyways, Archer's going to go down there. So a bit sloppy from both players, I guess. Sometimes when you have a pause, it can be hard to come back. Which is why, actually, in the event of, like, a drop, I get it. But, like, tactical pauses, which have been a conversation over the years, I actually think should not be allowed. But it's very hard for me. I haven't ever made a rule about it in my events because if someone wants a tactical pause, they could always just say, oh, I'm lagging. And then they can look at the tech tree or, like, take a deep breath or take a break, you know. So, well, I'm glad it's not a more common thing. Let's put it that way. Viper's got a demo in here. And he's going to land that demo on the fires. Sick play from him. Super well executed. And Sebastian has to bring his army over here now. But Sebastian could lose control of this pond if he's not careful. And obviously there's just so many different things to worry about right now. But Sebastian's going to repair. And Sebastian says, not today, Viper. Not now. Not ever. Not sure about the not ever part, but he's playing as well. Sebastian now brings his villager over here and repairs. Very well played. Viper not having the villagers next to the docks to be able to repair in these situations is what's making the difference. He could still lose this punt. It's common to see players split up the ships, because if they don't, the demo will destroy them. But we'll cut Sebastian some slack as he's now taking the right side. It feels like a natural time for Viper to take a look at the right side. As Sebastian's up. So guys, Sebastian's had a better Dark Age and a better Feudal in 2 straight games. Can he actually win this, though? Oh man, this is going to hurt a lot. Those are his only 4 fishing ships right now. Oh my god. Meanwhile, Viper's got all of this. So this army absolutely needs to kill. And Viper needs to be as stubborn as possible in this dock too, to not allow fishing ships being added there. Viper heading to the right now. There used to be a scout there for Sebastian. It looks like he's checking the other area. He's probably paranoid because of how Viper played it earlier. And he falls back because he saw Viper had a pretty big army. It would be the perfect time for Viper to attack him. So he falls back behind the walls. Is now behind a Viper economically, but he's transitioned into farms really nicely. He also gets 200 wood. Faster castle age could mean a lot for him. Also, hello? Hello? Enemy villagers find find courage in the fact that even though they hate each other, they both love fish. Like, what is he was just blending in there, and now he's gonna get a dock up? Oh no. But Viper's gonna try and break through. Sebastian needs to defend this because he's going recklessly to his opponent's base. And Viper knew this was coming, and if Viper can defend with the towers, could be so nice for him. And Sebastian might end up sitting underneath that tower. And the house goes down, the TC will go up, so Viper just runs in with the scouts. I like that. And he runs back with the ranged army, because he's got some work to do here yet. This dock going up is a painful one, though. It's not something that Sebastian would have wanted to happen, but you can understand it because of everything that's happening here. And Cross is a crazy game about multitasking. And for the second straight game, Viper falls back into 2 towers against Sebastian's aggression. Really crazy how that's been the case. These guys sit underneath the tower, but Viper's just going to wait for his ranged upgrades and come over here and kill this. And Viper's got the lead, right? Like, Viper's definitely got the lead. 19 to 19 KD. We have a close game. But he's got really good control. And once he gets his water upgrades as well, he should be able to dominate all 4 ponds. Well, maybe 3 out of the 4, because I think over here in the west, excuse me, he won't dominate it, but Sebastian isn't fishing there at the very least. And so the worry for Viper was dying to crossbowmen. Now at this point, I mean, for Sebastian, he's going to drop the second town center, but I worry for his long-term unit composition. You do see an interesting fight from Viper. Fighting before crossbow. He has elite skirm, but he doesn't actually have many skirms in there. So I don't think that fight was exactly how he would have wanted it, because he wanted a little bit more value from his crossbows. But as I say that, he actually pulled the crossbows away when Sebastian was focusing on them. And he gets the trade that he would have wanted anyways. And these 2 ships, Viper had somehow lost his dock. These 2 ships will control this pond. Here Viper's got a couple fishing ships. Here Viper is looking for fishing ships and doesn't see them, so we'll add some now. And then here Viper's adding fish traps. Just look at the amount on food. Sebastian he's got his work cut out for him here. Let's put it that way. There's so many different things he's going to have to do. All of his crossbows and his siege need max value at this stage of the game, as he loses that villager there. Very hard to get max value from the Viper, right? Very hard to ever get away with all-ins against him. And it's so bad that I think if, you know, like, it has to happen right away for him, too. Both because of the Civ, but because of the fishing advantage that Viper's going to end up having. But you just cannot switch. Like, Viper has no reason to not make a lot of skirms. Except for, I guess, the siege. Well, okay. That's actually a pretty big reason. But the point is like, you can just go skirmishers all day. Because you don't have to worry about your opponent ever switching into knights. Viper with the cav archers here will kill a monk. Does get a conversion there, though, that monk. That's nice. Viper doesn't see the pressure coming in from over here. His game sense is so good. Like, he ran over here because he didn't see something where you would normally see it otherwise. He's like, my opponent has 2 options. He either goes that direction or this direction. If he doesn't see it one direction, he goes to the next. Sebastian with some nifty micro to try and get away here with the crossbowman. Viper with the nifty micro, though, to run in and kill the crossbowman. And Viper's like, yeah, I'm not really having it with your tricks anymore. And he's making the split micro look easy here. Something I am really surprised by is the current eco count. I'm not fully understanding that. Like how Viper's at 48 villagers when Viper has less TC idle time? Did he delete a TC? That's a very interesting stat. Does anyone else make sense of that with the data we have available? Crossbow's getting picked off. Sebastian will have ballistics. He won't have it first again, but he will have it. And Viper's little game he's playing here will only last so long. But imagine, again, if ballistics is in, that knight would have not got as many hits in here. And so that mangonel might not have actually gone down. It's crazy how important that upgrade has been. Yeah, I guess Sebastian's had that second TC for a long time. That's true. Yeah. He added that TC like many minutes ago. So that's making more sense now. Something that's easily forgotten. Oh, don't let him get it. Mangonel's on 3 HP. And here Viper lost his Cav Archer. Sebastian's definitely still got a really good chance because of the eco count. Viper with a TC on the right. Another TC on the right, protecting wood, protecting gold. He's going to have 4 TCs. And the thing for Viper that's been a little questionable, I think, has just been the Cav Archer movement. Losing a Cav Archer there earlier, just lost like 4 Cav Archers there. Hasn't really been able to keep that mass up. I'm also really surprised Viper didn't add his own siege. But he's done pretty well considering his opponents had a lot of siege. But normally you're going to want to add siege. But it's not a very Hun thing to do. And it's also not a very fun thing to do. Huns are about all the fun in the sun. That was the lamest quote that you'll get from this game. Sebastian just, again, showing, like, I think he's going to be a real threat for everyone in this group. Remember, Viper's the #1 player in Group D. I'm really excited to see what he can do now in his other sets. But, like, you play this good, you want a win, right? I'd said before that getting 1 win from Viper and just losing 2-1 is completely fine here to open up Titans League. But I think it'd be really disappointing if he can't get a single win. Viper's finally just going to leave this wood line, as I think he could have a long time ago. He's just annoyed by this. And now the Cav Archer mass is flying. Also, fire ships here taking out a blacksmith. That might end up being important later on. I've had that happen to me enough times, losing a blacksmith, where I just don't realize it until I have to go back to it. And oftentimes I'll do that in early Imperial Age. Still not a situation where Viper wants a fight. Wait till he's got about 15 Cav Archers. Maybe 4 or 5 knights. But again, he's fighting with no fear because he's up against the Dravidians. And he just doesn't really seem all that concerned. The knights will go in for the siege. It still has elite skirms here to clear up the crossbows. Sebastian has to run. And as he runs, he's going to lose a lot of these crossbowmen. And Viper's current eco count is about the same. But the Dravidians just do not scale very well compared to the Huns here. And now that Viper's finally taking that military lead, I think we have officially reached that stage where I don't think there's any way back for Sebastian. And his timing on the town centers, though, so good in every game, right? I remember last year, he would always be the player who would, like, sell stone, and he'd time ballistics, and he wouldn't add economy. And that got him to, like, the top 50. And I think he finally reached a point where he had the skill, and he realized, I need to actually have the economy that these top 10 guys do. And so there's clearly been a shift in how he plays. I don't know if there's any other civilization that Viper enjoys playing more in this type of game at this point. Like, Huns are just so free, man. You don't need to rely on walls or defense. You just have Cav Archer knights flying all over the place. Viper's got that mobility. Remember, someone said skirm your roomie. What do Huns do against that? Well, good luck catching up with it, right? There's not a realistic situation where you can even drop a castle at this stage because Viper's just going to be all over you. And it's just clinical from the Viper. This knight goes in for the mangonel. Sebastian will repair it. Very well played from him there. The Viper will notice that, run away. And Viper still asking a lot of Sebastian on both sides. Sebastian's just actually waiting, which is kind of funny. Viper, he just wants Sebastian to have to deal with this. And, okay, here we go. Viper maybe wasn't expecting Sebastian to be in here either, and Viper now runs away. But they're both microing, and oh my god! Like, that was definitely a moment of, like, you want to go? And Sebastian's like, yeah, I want to go. So I'll give you a comparison that just came to mind with that. So I don't know how many of you guys follow hockey at all, but I'm a pretty big hockey guy. There was this one of the best players ever is Alex Ovechkin, and he's on my team, so a big fan. And he was playing up against a rookie. So Ovechkin was like, I don't know, 35 a couple years ago, playing up against a rookie. And, you know, they're playing a competitive game. They're jawing back and forth, talking smack or whatever. And this kid just keeps, you know, this kid just keeps giving Ovechkin a hard time. And Ovechkin's like, you want to go? And the kid's like, yeah, you want to go? And they were like, fine. And they dropped gloves and they fought. And the guy got completely obliterated. I would highly suggest looking that one up. But yeah, like that moment there, obviously no one won the fight. But there was a clear, like both players could have run away. Or like Viper probably should have run away. But there was just a clear moment where they both did the split dodge micro. And they were like, yeah, okay, you want to do that? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And they stuck around there for a little bit. I like that. Sebastian's still in this game as far as the population's concerned. It does feel like the army comp's going to be awkward for him. Yeah, it was the Carolina game. Exactly, Dylan. Yep, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Viper decides he doesn't need a castle, so he hasn't finished this one yet. I don't know what word we could use for that. Viper's got to be careful. Dravidian, Skirms, and Arbalest, no joke. They don't actually have any bonuses for the Arbalest, to be clear. But a combination is always really good because the Dravidian Skirms fire so fast. And I'm surprised Sebastian didn't actually try and go in there, but it could have been something I didn't see there. And now Viper's going to complete the castle. Field hockey or ice hockey. I mean, I've watched field hockey highlights, and they're incredible. Like, pro field hockey players are insane, but I didn't know that they punched each other in the face, too. I'm not a field hockey expert, though. Maybe they do that. 40 crossbows for Sebastian. And meanwhile, Viper's going to go for Marauders. So that allows him to create Tarkins from stables, guys. And he's not prioritizing Bracer for his Cav Archers. And he's not really producing any more Cav Archers. He's going to have 4 relics, not 5. He just lost the monk there, as I showed you. But he's going to snag this one. And so Sebastian's gone full archers, expecting Viper to go for Cav Archers, but Viper is prepping a switch to the Tarkin. And Tarkins have 8 Pierce Armor. Tarkins are the perfect unit against archers, especially slow archers. And I think the key for Viper is going to be, can he keep these Cav Archers alive? Because if he can keep the Cav Archers alive, if Sebastian ever switches into like Pikemen or Halberdier to counter the Tarkins, he can at least use this against those. And I'd say pretty sloppy from Viper to be caught out here. He could lose this entire force, so he's stuck on the Tarkins. But if you've picked up on how this game has looked thus far, you probably have realized as Sebastian tries to trap this army in, that Sebastian's been all in, right? Like, he hasn't played this like he can tech switch. Oh, man. Viper trying to escape into his opponent's base. Sebastian with another house and another house. And great job from him. Very good job from him. Meanwhile, Cav Archers are in his wood line. But Sebastian goes up to more population than the Viper. All because Viper just got too crazy with the attacks. Should have always come home in that situation. Did we really think that Viper was worried, though? With Elite Tarkin in, 170 HP, 8 Pierce Armor. It definitely does feel like at the very least you could have been dropping barracks there if you're Sebastian. Thinking about it. But what army are you going to have? I think 25 Tarkins could kill 50 Arbalest. Also, this is probably the 100th time I'm going to ask the devs to bring the thump back to the Tarkins. They don't make noise. They used to make a wonderful noise in the Conquerors, and I miss it. But yeah, Viper wins the game. Sebastian doesn't even try. Like, if you think about it, though, like, Viper's got how many stables? And they produce faster. He's got 8 stables. Sebastian here still has just 1 barracks. He has 400 wood. Okay, he did drop a couple barracks over here. If they even completed, he then needs pikemen. He then needs the numbers. And Viper's going to be at 30 or 40 Tarkins. There's just no shot there. Honestly, it was a really good game from Sebastian yet again. But I do think in this particular Civ matchup, he needed to have earlier control. And for him, he just, I think, just got masterclassed by Viper when Viper sent the villager here. Like, having 0 on food, having 0 on fish on this map is normally not a good sign. He was so fast to the second town center. he maintained an even eco because he had the town centers. If he would have had a little bit more competition on the water, I think it would have been a better game for him. Yet again, though, another game where Viper is later to Castle Age, but he has greater long-term eco. He has to fall back to a couple towers, and Sebastian worries him, and then Viper just looks smooth sailing from there. It looked way more smooth in this game than it did in game number 1, though. But honestly, I mean, I was already on the Sebastian hype train, but now I'm on the biased casting towards Sebastian train because I want him to get a win. Sebastian absolutely deserves a win in my eyes, based on how he's played this series. Now, that's not how the world works, right? You can do all the correct things in the world, and sometimes, you know, you just don't have it go your way. That's life. But with Game 1 and Game 2's performance, he's good enough to get a win. He's going to have to do so on Viper's home map, though, Arena. So, it's probably going to be tough. All right, Game 3. All right, so here's the deal, guys. When the draft happened, you have 30 seconds per civilization, okay? And Viper got the first pick after the bans. Viper picked Burgundians. It goes over to Sebastian, where he gets 2 picks in a row. So again, he had 30 seconds for the first civ, 30 seconds for the second civ, and after 3 seconds, he had picked Mayans and Bohemians. So he really wanted Bohemians, and obviously he wanted Mayans game 1. He didn't take much time to think about it. So I actually think that is a very important thing to bring up, because I am the master of talking about things that might not actually matter. But no, in my mind, if a player picks a civ right away, they have a lot of faith in it. They have a strategy they want to execute on, and they think that, you know, there's like no doubt in their minds that that's the best. And there would have been other picks available, in my opinion, to compete. So Bohemians are more about the late game, in most cases anyways, and getting to the like Halberdier Hoofnita combination. Chemistry and Castle Age, some interesting monk bonuses and monk techs that actually apply to your economy. And then Burgundians just suit the Viper style super well. Eco upgrades are 40% cheaper. Eco upgrades are available in age earlier. Does everyone agree that the Burgundians are pretty busted? I mean, I think most people do at this point, right? Their unique unit's epic. Their gunpowder does more damage. Their farms bring in gold. Their relics bring in food. They have a button to press that turns all their villagers into a really strong military unit instantly, which doesn't necessarily feel like, you know, the word instance ever belonged in Age of Empires 2, but it was brought into the game when the Burgundians came in. So, anyways, it's really good for Viper, and also a really good map for Viper. Classic Viper map hacks. Okay, big question, guys. Big question. Will Viper ever remember this sheep is here? I'm voting no. I think he's the best player in the world. I think he's going to forget about that. What do you think? It's so far away. Let's look at his scouting pattern. Oh, maybe he will remember it because it's not fully scouted. But that is really far off screen, and it's right behind the tree. He should notice it. But I've had enough games where I've like lost the sheep on Arena. And Viper, hello? Hello? Villagers aren't working? Okay. I mean, I'm telling you there's a chance. Obviously, he has vision on the map, but I'm really hoping that he forgets about the sheep now. It'd be like the classic YouTube title. Viper forgot about his sheep. And then a big surprise face. And then it doesn't really even matter that much if he does or doesn't. And it wouldn't have that big effect on the game. Now, you know, I'm curious what Sebastian's approach will be. I wonder if he's going to boom. I wonder if he's going to compete for relics. But I can tell you the players being closer together is actually a bit more helpful for him if he wants to go aggressive here. There was not a lot of space between these players' bases here. No, he remembered the sheep. I had so much faith in him. Faith in him to forget it. Well, you know, there's a reason Viper's kind of good at the game, guys. He's very aware. Wait, what a tryhard, bro. You can't just leave a sheep to chill out in the woods. Why do you have to eat them all? You're Burgundians. You don't need it. Come on. I guess, you know, there is kind of money on the line per game and placement prizes as well. What a boring player. Okay, I didn't mean that. It's all jokes. We have nothing else to talk about right now. But, you know, as I say that, we do have some things to talk about. We've got 3 on gold from Sebastian. And he's going to use the market here. So the thing that people always forget about Bohemians is how fast they can go up to the next stage because their blacksmith is cheap. Because players will go blacksmith market in most cases. Or in this case, he's going to go like barracks, stable blacksmith maybe. We'll see. But anyways, the blacksmith I think is only 50 wood. Which means you don't need to have as many villagers on wood compared to normal builds. Now, Sebastian has actually stuck with the standard amount on wood, which is 8. But I don't actually think he would need that. The Viper will most likely just go into eco. 1 second, guys. You're not going to hear me for like, well, not 1 second. 5 seconds. 1 moment. Okay. We're good. I've been trying to make more use of my stand-up desk. And I was on a bike ride this morning, and my legs are just, like, killing me. So I think sitting is going to make me hate life later on in the day. Okay. So Viper will go stable blacksmith, especially because his map allows so much boom potential. I think that is the proper play. And Sebastian's going to go stable blacksmith as well. I'm fascinated by that. Because do you want to compete in that same type of battle that the Burgundians are probably going to do a better job of? I mentioned some bonuses with the Burgundians. I didn't mention that they also get stable upgrades 50% off. Ultimately, it's going to depend on execution here, though. And Sebastian does click up to Castle Age faster, which means an earlier monastery. Resources collected thus far, I'm very curious on at this stage. And Viper has already collected 500, 400 more resources. Yeah, something more around, maybe 300, 400. Yeah, something like that. But obviously, that's only going to get better for him because he now has the Castle Age wood upgrade. So his eco is just flying. I was thinking, so this comes from experience. And also, this is a thought that just popped into my mind is there was a guy on YouTube who said on a video this week, T90 always thinks things he dies to have no counter. And then there was 120 upvotes on that comment, which, I don't know. That made me feel kind of bad. I hope I don't come off that way. Obviously, we all talk about our experiences in life. And I try and bring my experience into play when I cast, whether it's good or bad. I'm not saying I has no counter, but in that particular video, I talked about the Portuguese and their gunpowder all-in plays against Burgundians. And if you play like Samaro did there, I actually think it's really good against Burgundians. What I don't think is good against Burgundians is competing in the boom and stable war. I've seen that so many times now, and I think you're just playing towards the Burgundian strengths. So, you know, like, that's why I was a little surprised to see that Sebastian had picked the civilization that he did as quickly as he did, because he could have gone for Turks or Portuguese, and clearly he wants those Bohemians. So, Viper trying to micro his way out of this. Unfortunately for him, he does, because he had a weak one in there. And there's Sebastian with his monastery. Sebastian has to be careful. Viper might hold that gate open and be annoying. And yeah, it was just to be annoying there. Now let's check resources collected. Viper's now collected 600 more resources, and that will just climb and climb and climb and climb and climb. So I think Sebastian has recognized that this is not really like the best of situations for him at the moment. And he's trying to decide on what he does next. I could have sworn, maybe I was seeing things, but I could have sworn he had a second monastery going up. But I don't think double monastery against Lightcav is a good play. The Viper now drops his TC on the gold. And then he's now dropping a TC on the wood and the stone as well. Castle Age wood upgrade and also the farm upgrade coming in. Feels like the dream spot for Viper. It's definitely the dream spot for Burgundians. He's got Lightcav already and more Lightcav because he can afford it. Bohemians, their economy just can't really compete. We haven't seen an attempt at making spearmen. Sometimes players will do that because Bohemian spearmen do additional bonus damage. The scouts have to run on home. Viper, of course, is going to have to run home as well. He doesn't want to lose any light cap to conversions. And Viper already working on getting his first relic at the moment. And Sebastian... Ooh, he was close there. He had a lot of work to do because he didn't want to open the gate at the improper time and have Viper run in and kill the monks. He's got 3 monks there, still not able to get relics. Meanwhile, Viper, he's got 1 and he's on his way to get 2 and 3 at the moment. Okay. Danny, it's not the boldest of predictions you've just made, based on what we've seen. He says, Viper is winning 3-0 from this position, saying it right now. There have been bolder predictions, okay? I think me trying to predict whether or not Viper would grab a sheep from a woodline is a little bit more risky. Because it's looking pretty good for Viper. And as my casting has also implied, I think that Burgundians are just stupid strong if you try and do the same thing as them. And, oh, God. Oh, all the monks go down. I'm not sure what Sebastian saw that made him think that he could do that. But I also think part of the reason Viper might have picked Arena is because he knows Sebastian's skill set, and he didn't feel like Sebastian would necessarily see this map in the same way as him. And that was a good job from Sebastian, though. He killed 2 monks. He killed a monk here, and he killed a monk at this relic, too. So I'm impressed with that, at least. But now Viper's into his base. He's got to be careful here. He's got... Oh, he does have Loom, actually. But he can't actually send any monks out at the moment. And now Viper's trying to save his monk as Sebastian's still looking around. This guy's a hunter. And kills another one there. So well played, Sebastian. I will check resources collected once the fighting stops. It might not ever stop at this point. I think Viper's going to end up with all the relics, though. And Sebastian, who worked so hard in this game. Oh, he got baited. Viper saw he was chasing this one. Goes in for a villager kill. Doink! Got him. This is just as cool as you like from Viper. Okay, now let's check resources collected. Okay, he's now collected 1,000 more resources. So, you know, I think with the bases being closer, maybe a castle drop could have worked. Maybe that allows spearman play to be a bit stronger. Viper goes for TC number 4 now, and Viper's like... He's basically had the perfect game so far. Now, here's another thing, and here's a question for you guys, because I'm not actually sure. So, obviously, you want to be close to the Burgundians to pressure them, because they're always going to have such a massive lead. But here's another thing. If you're Bohemians, do you want to be closer or further away from your opponent? Because it takes a while to get to Halb Hufnitze, right? So I think both civilizations thrive if they're far apart from their opponent. Where my mind's going is I think that the Burgundian player, the Bohemian player will want to be further away in most cases. Because it takes so much time to get to those techs. Viper's going for 5th TC. Are we going to see the revolution here? 5th TC tells me Viper's like, all right, we've won the series already. Obviously, the games still matter. Every single win adds up at the conclusion of the 5-week group. And if Viper throws this game and then suddenly has a shocker in all the other sets, maybe we could look back at this. This is not going to happen, but maybe we could look back at this moment as the time that Viper got relegated. No. But yeah, I feel like he knows he has such a massive lead that he's going to try and go for the button. I kind of hope he does, because I really want it to either be removed for the game or changed massively, because I don't think it belongs in the game. But I also hope he doesn't at the same time. We'll see. I know Viper said from the start, Viper and I are in agreement that it's ridiculous. But our opinions don't matter. Our opinions aren't valued, Viper and I. We haven't been around long enough. We're just a bunch of old men saying, back in my day, there was nothing instant. Okay, it does give Sebastian opportunity to have a lot of success with gunpowder, which he might want to do anyways. And we could see Viper go for Paladin. We could see Viper go for some of his own gunpowder as well. We'll see. We have 73 villagers versus 87. Really curious to see resources collected stat after we see if Viper's going to take any losses here. And oh boy, Viper's going to drop a forward castle. He's been on stone for a while. And he's a little uncertain, but overall, I think he should know, especially with how Sebastian's playing this, that Sebastian doesn't have any army anymore. And Viper researched Atonement, so he can now convert Sebastian's monks. And if Sebastian were to lose those monks, Viper would be so annoying with them, but fortunately he runs away. And he is going to find a castle on his face. I think the play to get yourself out of this, if you're Sebastian, is click up to Imp, research chemistry while you're on your way to Imp, and aim to go for bombard cannons, which is something you would have wanted to do anyways. I personally like the Flemish Revolution. It's very unique and adds good flavor to the game. So I'm torn on it, right? Because I think Viper's just going to go hand cannons from here with Eco. Maybe even Paladin. Dang. Maybe he expects his opponent's going to go hand cannons and he's going to go Paladin. We'll see. It might just do everything at this point. I do not believe that you should be able to have 200 military in the game with a 2-second switch. I think it's very anti-Age of Empires 2. It feels like a different game. It doesn't feel like Age of Empires 2. And more importantly, the thing about the Revolution that I hate the most is that it is attached to a civilization which has been, like super busted with everything else and super strong with everything else. Burgundians have an insane win rate on any map that's closed. Burgundians have insane bonuses overall. If you're going to have a tech like that, I don't think it should belong to the Burgundians. So I think at the very least, whether or not you agree that it should be removed entirely, I hope people can at least see my point, my final point. And I don't know, I'm just a little surprised that, I mean, the devs are always consistently inconsistent, and if they did everything in agreement with what I wanted to do, that'd probably be bad for the game. It's good that we have these talking points and that there's variety and lots of different things. But, like, they removed obsidian arrows from the game. From Mayans. Because Mayans were already stupid strong. And obsidian arrows, I thought, was actually, like, more fun. I mean, I could go down the list of things they did. I mean, they freaking... You're getting me revved up now. You're getting me revved up. Oh, God. I gotta settle down. I can't. One more statement. Sicilians were middle-of-the-road crap win rate. And they nerfed Sicilians more than Burgundians 2 months ago, all right? There's inconsistencies that are just not acceptable here. And I added 2 freaking bans for both players to the draft because I didn't want to be this person. And yet we didn't see Burgundians banned here. And Sebastian paying the price, obviously. You got me revved up. And Viper's going to go Paladin. He's also going to go Skirms here. We'll see if Viper stops making vills. Normally, around 140 when you're going Paladin is where you stay. There's actually a slight concern Viper throws because he's trying to... he's very late with some blacksmith upgrades. But I think he's just teching Paladin because it's dirt cheap, and he figures when he needs it later, he'll have the tekken already, which is actually kind of smart. There's vineyards, by the way, so his farmers are now going to bring in gold. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm human. I wish I could just shut up. I can't. Viper goes onagers. Viper want to raid? Well, if you think about the Bohemians and what position they want to get into, they want to be on cannons, gunpowder, and then eventually halberdier. And like Viper's skirm opening is a bit awkward because, yeah, it's good against hand cannons, but you still don't have an answer that's strong against the bombard cannons. Viper is sending the monks in here. Did he get redemption? Did anyone see that? He's moving in like he got redemption. I don't think he does have redemption. But I know... Oh, by the way, Burgundians get block printing and redemption. FYI. A lot of civilizations are not going to have access to that. But I think the Burgundians need it. And oh my god! Okay. Well, Skirmisher's going to go down. Viper playing some risky games here. He could lose that forward castle. Obviously, he's got 5 relics and farms bringing him gold right now. Yeah, I would also be okay if the Revolution tech was just increased in cost massively. I do have an issue with like, my opinion is that type of tech shouldn't be in the game. But if the devs don't want to remove it, because a lot of people like it or whatever reason, I still do feel like just make it like super expensive so you don't see it as attainable. There's nothing wrong with that. And Viper Onager cuts through, and the Paladins are going to run right into Sebastian's eco. So the skirmish just held things for Viper, and now this gets annoying. Man, Onager was such an interesting choice here. I'm actually so in love with that. And now the Paladins don't have to worry about running into a choke point. Viper's castle still standing. And for Sebastian, who's had a crazy series here. Like, honestly, one of the best games we've ever seen from the guy in game number 1. Unfortunately, he's going to lose 3-0 here to the Viper. Viper's just a player who you cannot make many mistakes against. I think game 3 showed Sebastian doesn't really know the matchup well. I think that he doesn't play a lot of arena. He's just not experienced on this map, and Burgundians are broken. But Viper also played them perfectly. He showed the power of Burgundians. He showed why so many people are talking about this civilization before we even saw some of the other bonuses come into play. But yeah, man, I mean, the bummer for poor Sebastian is that game 1 was such an incredible play against the Viper, and he ended up losing it to that crazy comeback, one of the best comebacks you'll see from Viper. So still a good series. I think this does show how good Sebastian can be, and there's a lot to hope for him. And again, he has 4 other opponents to play in his group. It'll be a very good group, but those 4 other opponents also have to play the Viper. So he will now be hoping that Viper wins 3-0 against all those opponents, as he's going to be battling up against everybody else. Solid performance here from the Snake. I think that I think Viper getting past that trouble in game 1 always had a feeling that he was going to 3-0 it, though, right? Your best chance against the Viper is the first round of any tournament and the first game in that round. That's your best chance. And then once he's firing, once he's warmed up, once his coffee's kicked in, and once the rust is shook off, which can happen in the first game, then you're going to have problems. So GG, great series in Group... It says Group A. That's actually... This is wrong. This whole time, nobody told me. It's Group D. And I'm going to see if Hardy can maybe edit in the group onto the end screen for those on YouTube. Yeah, Hardy should hear that now when he goes to edit this. But we're going to look at that group here in a second on the stream. And then obviously we have 3 more sets to cast as well. But yeah, best losing play on a 3-0 that Robert's seen in chat, and maybe others too. It was a really good performance from Sebastian. I feel like he deserved to win, but not to be.